What up? What up? What up, podcast party people? No fucking regretters. Or just head cases. That's probably what you are. I've been trying to think of a name for no fucking regret fans, but you're just probably head cases. So, I don't know why I feel like I should be saying something, but I can't think of anything cool at the moment. I can't think of a name at the moment. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. Opening night. Machine Head's Burn My Eyes 25th anniversary tour. And I was like, Phoenix, Arizona, who do I know there? I was like, Robb Dukes. I know Robb Dukes, the former Exodus singer who did 3 albums with them. So I was like, let's get that motherfucker on the he's funny, he's got a crazy life story. Him and I have had some pretty heavy talks at times, and I was like, this dude will be awesome. So I got him on. That's who's the guest today. Robb Dukes, currently of Generation Kill, formerly of Exodus. Today's podcast, today's No Fucking Regrets podcast, which, by the way, has been doing really good. And I want to thank you guys for sitting down and listening to my podcast. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. Sometimes an hour, some of these go on like an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. So I appreciate you taking the time. If you like the podcast, head over to Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. Leave a comment on YouTube, leave a like, talk about what you like. Tell me who you'd like to, me to interview. I'm trying to be diverse. I'm not just trying to talk to band dudes. I'm trying to talk to, a bunch of all walks of life. Just motherfuckers who are interesting or inspiring or funny or fucking crazy or just have a death wish or whatever, But I do appreciate it, man. I never would have thought that this type of thing would be something that people would give a shit about, listening to me talk to somebody for an hour or whatever. But I guess it's doing really good, man. Came in, I think I told you this a couple times ago. We came in at number 26 on the Apple podcast charts, which is pretty fucking huge. 26 for North America, which is pretty massive, man. Thank you. This No Fucking Regrets podcast is brought to you by Nuclear Blast Records, the premier metal label on the planet Earth. They're bringing you the best metal out there. It is also brought to you by Gas Digital. Gas Digital is the distributor who is killing it for me. They're amazing, getting all these podcasts up within an hour sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, this shit's got to get up. This was killer, and they just fucking put it up for me. It is also brought to you by Caveman Foods. Make better food choices without compromising on taste. They serve grain-free granola. They're a paleo-based company, and I got turned on to them by the gym that I work out called Diablo Barbell. The Devil's Barbell. That's right, because I live in the Devil's Valley, which is called Diablo Valley. And, Diablo in Spanish is devil. Anyway, they make all kinds of paleo snacks. They make paleo granola. They make paleo nutrition bars, paleo protein bars, paleo collagen bars. They make all meat snacks, if you're into that. And their trip is kind of based on the caveman vibe, as their name would imply. At Caveman, we're inspired by our early ancestors who thrived on simple, nutrient-dense foods, but today busy schedules and countless craveable, unhealthy options can distract us from eating right. That's why we make delicious paleo snacks that make eating healthy easier. They have new collagen bars. Collagen is a type of protein I believe it's milk based. My wife actually drinks collagen, and I've been thinking about it because I've been wanting to put a little more protein into my diet in the morning, and I feel like that's the one meal that I struggle with to get protein. So collagen bars or collagen powder. Our new collagen bars have 11 grams of protein and 5 grams of collagen, not to mention the delicious flavors and clean ingredients that Caveman is known for. Hashtag snack better. Head over to cavemanfoods.com and check out what they got. You might find some stuff that you like over there. I want to play a couple songs. Some of my favorite Robb Dukes songs that he recorded with Exodus. First song that I ever heard by the Robb Dukes era was off of the Shovel-Headed Kill Machine. How good of a fucking album title is that? God, I fucking love that album title. It's a great cover too. Just fucking blood and skulls and a giant shovel-headed kill machine, as you would imagine it. Kind of like a snowplow. It kind of looks like a murderous snowplow. Anyway, the first song I ever heard by them was Deathamphetamine, which is a play on the word methamphetamine, which was speed. Anyway, this song is a banger. I love this chorus here. Right here. That riff. Listen to that riff. This is another song right here. This is another song that I really like. I kind of forgot how much I liked this song. It's called Altered Boy, also off of Shovel-Headed Kill Machine. Fucking heavy. Really fucked up lyrics too. Really fucked up lyrics. It's about the Catholic Church and Jesus. It's some dark shit. That riff. That's classic Gary Holt right there. Woo! That's heavy. That's heavy. Here we go. Raped in the name of Christ. That's a good one right there. I tell you what, though, this might be my favorite one that he. This is probably my favorite song that they did. Actually, this is a good song too. Let me see here. Children of a Worthless God. This is off of the Atrocity Exhibition, Exhibit A. Some good stuff, man. I want to say Riot Act is another good song off of this record. Yeah, this was cool. This was what I liked about it. He had singing. I was like, whoa, Robb Dukes can sing? Holy shit. They're singing in Exodus? But this song right here, this is the jam. Burn, Hollywood, burn. This is off of Exhibit B, The Human Condition. This is the jam right here. About reality TV show bullshit. Kardashians. Housewives of wherever the fuck. That's a fucking chorus right there. So good. Yes. Right there. Those are some of my favorite jams. He's also got a new band called Generation Kill. This is one of the songs off of that. This song is called Born to Serve. It's kind of a rocker. This was a heavy one. I think this was more of like a kind of a, had a little more melody. Not maybe not as thrashy, but still heavy and rocking. Anyway, it was a great conversation that we had. It was fun. It was a funny. I mean, we went all. It was pretty heavy, man. Like I gotta say, it was one of my favorite ones that I've done. It was just such a heavy conversation at times, and really funny at so many other times. And yeah, man, I'll get into it right now, ladies and gentlemen, on the No Fucking Regrets podcast with Robb Flynn, Mr. Robb Dukes. So I was watching videos of you earlier. And
videos of me.
It was kind of like a documentary on you or something.
Okay.
It was something, I don't know, somebody sent me some YouTube. I said, hey, I'm interviewing Robb Dukes, blah, and they sent me a clip.
Okay.
And it was kind of like it was a mini documentary on you, I guess.
Huh.
I think. I don't know what it was. It was on YouTube, and it had a bunch of your friends talking about what an asshole you were.
Yeah.
When you were drunk.
Yeah. So that was basically, that was like a Easter egg. Like you had to know where the button was to click that, and it was a secret thing on our DVD that I did with Exodus. It was the documentary I did for Exodus. I pretty much did all that.
Oh, okay.
So I shot that for like 5 years. And then Nuclear Blast actually gave me some cash to edit it and put it together.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it was kind of
So
cool.
anyway, there was a scene in there. I just wanted to ask you, do you ever miss playing in a dress?
Yeah, man, because that was like a fucking punk rock thing, man, Fucking, I think Zappa started it.
Yeah.
Right? And then I stole it from Jack Grisham from TSOL.
Nice.
That's why I did it.
Okay.
I stole that from him, and I just was like, the one thing I noticed about metalheads, not in general, but it's something I've seen over the years. Their sense of humor is kind of, they don't really, it's not that they don't have one. They don't like when you fuck with metal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You wearing a dress is totally what the fuck?
What the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love playing in a dress.
I do too, man.
It's fucking really
it makes people
like
fucking weird.
Yeah.
Man. People go like, what the fuck is he doing?
I don't know about you, but I free ball when I do it. Like you can't you can't wear underwear. Like that's just fucking lame.
Yeah. Well, I freeballed my entire touring life.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to
in a dress or not in a dress.
Only because I didn't want to have to do the laundry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just more laundry to fucking carry around. You know what I mean? So I always...
I free ball too when I play. Like I just wear pants. I don't wear underwear.
Yeah.
I don't, it's just it's like too hot or something sometimes.
Yeah. So we were in Serbia once and we got served dog meat in Serbia and I got really sick. And when I was screaming, that very last scream of lesson and violence, and I fucking shit my pants, and it came out because I wasn't wearing. I was just wearing shorts.
You charted.
It fucking came out, and dude, it was like just a fucking nightmare. But that was one of those things that happened.
Did you keep your cool? Did you let the audience know?
Well,
did the audience know?
So what happened was I was ready to puke too. So Lee saw it.
That sucks.
Lee started laughing because he saw it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of, it was at the end, so I had like 2 minutes of guitar solo. So he can't even play. He was laughing so hard. And Gary's like, what the fuck is going on? And I just ran off the stage. And
it was a surprise. You didn't know. Did you know it was coming? Like you could feel the diarrhea?
No, it was like one of those, you ever have those things where like, I don't feel good. I didn't feel good since we ate way earlier in the day. We found out later that one of the guys in biochemical, he got worms. That's how we knew we were served dog meat, because you get worms. Yeah. So I just thought I was sick. You know what I mean? I just didn't feel good.
Right.
I didn't know. It just happened. You know what I mean? And I went and cleaned myself up, and I fucking get my shirt, I put my clothes, and I come back out on stage, and Gary was like, what the fuck? And I was like, I shit myself. And there it was sitting there on the stage still. And Lee was laughing, pointing at it. You know what I mean? And it, fucking, I just kind of like
dripped down.
It was like those rabbit pellets. It wasn't
like
gotcha. It was
okay.
a mixture of soft serve ice cream and rabbit pellets. So it was just it was awesome. Yeah, it was deliciously fucking lame.
I love that we opened up this whole thing with your diarrhea and shit incident in Serbia after eating dog meat. Wow.
Yeah. So that's part of my stand-up act. I've been doing stand-up, and that's part of it.
Yeah, you were talking about that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
I've been doing it for a couple months now.
Yeah. You said you're doing it all low pro, like not announcing.
Don't tell anybody. I do all open mic nights.
I would be shitting myself.
All around Phoenix. I'll tell you, man, like, you know, we both have been in front of huge fucking crowds.
Yes.
Right? And that is nerve-wracking in its own. This was 100 times that.
Yeah.
Because there's no band. It's just you with a microphone, and people are like, they clap when you walk up, and then they're dead silence, and they're
just listening.
They're expecting you to say something to make them fucking laugh, or at least feel good, or try or whatever. You know what I mean? And so I have I got a bunch of different things I do and things I talk about, and
you get about 20 minutes. You were saying
I have about 20 minutes together right now. If I had to do 20 minutes right now, I could.
Yeah, like you're writing jokes.
They're not. So they're a mixture of stories true stories that have happened to me, and things that have happened in my life, and then I've peppered them with jokes, and then I have this one thing where I talk about where it was a story I read and I just made it funny. It was just this thing I read and it was tragic but fucked up and funny all at the same time, and I just kind of tell that story, and most people have to Google what happened afterward. And realize that I've taken a little bit of Hollywood licensing and making it funnier than it actually the real tragedy of this thing happened. But I'm not going to. I don't want to tell it.
Yeah, don't tell your joke,
because then people are like, oh, I want them to, eventually I'll start doing stand up and they'll come out. Yeah.
So the thing that I have huge respect for comedians. First, I mean, I was just talking to. I just interviewed Tony La Russa, and we both love comedians, and he does this. He does a charity for ARF where they bring up musicians, which I've done it like 3 times now, and it's a fundraiser to raise money for animal rescue. And then he brings out comedians, and he'll get, I met Robin Williams, saw Robin Williams for the only time I've ever seen him. He gets a bunch of the SNL cast, like some of the old guys, Rob Schneider, and he gets a bunch of characters, and it's like, I remember talking to him. It's like, it was right after Kevin Nealon went up, and he had a really, Kevin Nealon's kind of like pretty dry, but kind of vanilla, like nothing really too edgy. But at this fucking comedy thing, he was just so fucking like crazy. We were like, oh my God. And we were watching him, and he just said something super poignant, and everybody in the audience just kind of went, ooh, and then just laughed, because it was like, ow, that was so close to home. Like that just hurt too much. Yeah. And it was like, and we were talking about it, and it's like comedians have this, ability to see us, in a more like fine-tuned way, like a different way than we can see ourselves. I mean, like as humans, and as just like a human race. And I love that. And I love hearing about all the stories about Carlin sitting there and like just revising word after word just to get like, take this word out here and take this word out here, and
for the flow.
Yeah, just to keep the flow going, so that when it comes out of his mouth, that's what makes it.
Well, everybody has their own thing that they do, their own way of doing it. And I'm friends with, I've been a fan of comedy since I was a little kid. I remember having like Red Fox records and just
Cheech and Chong
and fucking and Bill Cosby, who was actually funny,
really funny, man. I loved all those early specials.
So those early records I had led into like I found like Bill Hicks in the 80s, in the mid to late 80s, and then I found Stanhope in early 90s and Rogan in the early 90s. I knew, and I have like just this this fascination with comedy. I used to hang out in comedy clubs in New York all the time, and just my friend Mike DiStefano was this comedian, and we were motorcycle guys, and I would go with him. He'd do like 5 shows in a night, and I would follow him. We'd go from gig to gig to gig.
5 comedy shows.
Yeah,
in
so
a night?
so you could be in Midtown Manhattan and do 20 minutes.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then fucking fly down to the Village and do 20 minutes, and then go out to Staten Island or Queens and do fucking 30 minutes, and then come back.
And
out.
he'd do the same routine.
He would do the same routine basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't exactly the same. He didn't write it down. He was kind of like but he had the same peppered jokes. But when you see it night after night, I kind of knew what was coming, because I had seen it so many times, but the people that were there had no idea. So I knew when he was having a bad show, or when he had, it's funny watching a comedian have a bad show and watching them pull themselves out of it and make it funny. And, my other friend was Otto and George. Otto and George he was a ventriloquist, and he was a really bad ventriloquist, but he was fucking he was the funniest person I've ever met. I mean, I hung out with him so much for like a couple years, man, where he didn't drive. He couldn't drive a car. So he needed rides to gigs. So I'd go pick him up and drive him to gigs, and we'd be in the car for
when is this? Like 80s, 90s? This is before
early 90s. This is early mid 90s all the way,
Are you in a band at this point?
I was in a local little band. I played guitar in this little band with my friend Craig and this guy Manny, and we were just doing mostly covers and we were just having fun. Wasn't really chasing the dream at all. At this point, I was kind of really kind of floundering in what I was going to be.
You're in Queens?
No, I was actually in Nyack, New York, which is about 20 miles north of Manhattan.
Okay.
I had gotten sober. And when I got sober, I honestly didn't really know who I was. I was really, I was such a fucking waste drunk for so many years. I mean, honestly, there's a 2-year period where I was such a blackout drunk. I blacked out, and there are stretches of time that I just don't know. I know where I was, and I kind of have an idea of what I was doing, but I was such a fucking mess. And then you found your comedian buddy? No,
Let's go back to the comedy thing. Finish your story there that you were talking about.
Oh, so when I first got sober, I was just trying to figure out what it was, but I met him and we became friends. I went to his show. I thought he was great, and I introduced myself. Hey man, we became friends, and then I just started driving him to gigs, and they were always telling me that, dude, you should do comedy. You should just fucking try it. And I was terrified. I just never did it until 4 months ago. That was the first time I did it.
That's awesome.
After all these years of my friend Bobby Kelly.
How did your first one go?
It went better than I thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
Because I was freaking out in my fucking head. As soon as I was mispronouncing words and just nervous as fuck.
Right.
But and the crowd, they did not know it was my first time. They just knew.
You didn't say that.
I didn't say that. I didn't say who I was. I didn't say. I did say, well, I used to sing in a band, and when I was in Serbia one time, and I fucking shit on.
Right.
So I kind of but I didn't say what band. I didn't say.
Yeah, you kept it low pro.
I just kept it just trying to, trying to be funny. And I thought I was, man. I only did 4 minutes the first time. I had 5 and I did 4. I was talking so fucking fast. It was just but the last time I did that, I had 5 minutes. I ended up doing 8 because I just kind of got lost. And I said, I apologize. I went 8 minutes. He goes, dude, I wasn't going to, you were being funny, so we weren't going to stop you in the middle of it. So it's a 5 minute. It's supposed to be, but they flashed this light. But I never saw it, so I didn't know where I was.
That's
at.
a wrap it up.
Yeah, you got a minute. You know what I mean? They flash a light, and I didn't see the flash. And he said, I didn't flash you because you were being funny, so we weren't going to stop you in the middle of this. You were actually. It was, I've gotten better over the last couple months.
Are you opening for somebody when you're doing these?
It's all open mics. So you go, you sign up, you go, and then you just fucking do it. And there's usually 20 people, and they get 5 minutes. It takes a couple hours, and you sit there. And you know what I mean? And it's I learn a lot watching it.
You said you've had a couple of duds.
I did have a dud. I had one. I played. It was
what is a dud? Where you just nobody laughs at the whole 5 minutes?
So basically, that's what happened. Well, it started out bad from the start. It was a bar here. It was a bar.
Okay.
In Phoenix, in downtown Phoenix, and it was I walked in. It was just like a millennial. I'm like, oh no. And I sat there and I watched everybody, and everybody was terrible. Everybody was like, no, people are eating and they're fucking drinking and they're not paying attention and they don't really give a shit.
Right.
And I got up and I just said, I ate dog once, and the fucking bartender who was, she had like, I'm not gonna say she was a lesbian, but she had real short hair, and she went, ew, like gross, like, and then I said, well, I didn't fucking order it. I didn't go to fucking, you know what I mean? I tried to defend myself that I wasn't just eating dog for the fucking fun of it, but it definitely was the hardest gig that I did because no one was paying attention. But I made this one woman in front of me laugh, and that was enough.
Good. Yeah, right.
That was all I needed.
Like, that's cool. Like your ego gets that one. Okay, I gotcha.
Got one good laugh. Yeah. So yeah, that was the time I bombed. But every time, it's, if you wanted to do it, if you wanted to go up and tell stories, if somebody said, hey, Robb, come up and fucking tell stories, you could tell some funny things that have happened in the last 30 years in your life in this business.
Yeah. That
you could get up and say 5 minutes and and you would make people laugh by.
I'd probably make them laugh like once or twice though.
Right.
Whereas like when you go to a comedy thing, you're expecting, every 30 seconds, right? Or what is there like a time? Like, is there like every 30 seconds you got to make them laugh or
At
something?
one time I stopped in the middle of it. I forgot what I was saying. And everyone started laughing, and I went, no, seriously, you guys were all silent, and it made me freak out, and I forgot what I was talking about. And somebody afterly said, dude, the honesty that you had saying that was like, that was why everyone laughed, because you were vulnerable and you were being honest. So
that's rad.
So, yeah, my comedian friends are like, don't ever take classes, don't ever go, like, just, dude, be yourself and tell the stories that you're going to tell. And just, you know what I mean? Like, just be yourself and you'll be fine. If you try to be something else and you try to be like, write terrible jokes, you're going to be terrible. But if you just be yourself, you're going to be fine because you're naturally just funny. So the last time I went up, right? The last time I did it, which was last week or a week and a half ago, this kid before me, he got caught by his mom watching porn on her computer, and he told the story, and he was actually really funny. He was actually from Montreal. I can't remember his name.
Like a young kid?
Young kid. He was like 22 or something, right? And he goes, yeah, and he goes, one of them was
iPhone,
right?
Like, why are you watching on your mom's computer?
No shit. So he tells the story to his mom. So his mom printed out the history list.
Yes,
and you know what I mean. And he said one of them was grannyporn.com, and I was like, fuck, and I started laughing out loud, and I got on stage, and the first thing
granny porn or grainy porn?
Granny got laid.com, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I got up on stage and I go, I don't want to be here right now, because I just want to go home and Google fucking grannygotlay.com and fucking rub one out. And it made everyone laugh. And so my buddy Bobby saw the video because I sent it to him, and he was like, dude, he goes like, that's something funny only a comedian would say. You took a story from someone else and walked up and made it funny. That shows you have like this, a little bit of talent
the
to
knack.
Do this. So
yeah. And it's a talent. Like, not everybody can just do it. You know what I mean?
Think
like,
if you've been on stage before, if you don't have that fear, which, for fucking my first 200 Exodus shows, I threw up every time right before I was going on stage.
Shit, huh?
They had a garbage can right by the edge of the amps, because that's where I would start throwing up. I would just, like, the intro would start, and I'd be, and I'd start gagging, and the next thing you know, I'd be throwing up. And they always had a garbage can for me, because I just was it was nerve-wracking, dude. It was,
and it just,
dude,
it went away eventually.
It went away.
200 shows. That's probably like a few years, right?
No, that was the first year. We did 250 shows in the first year.
Holy smokes.
We did a bunch of shows in the first couple years. We were doing over 200 shows a year for like 6 or 7 years straight. And I think around the year 5, I stopped doing it. But some of the bigger shows, like when we opened for Priest, I fucking was puking. I mean, I was. I
wonder what that is. I was
so nervous, dude. Vakken. Luckily, there was those great.
You didn't show it. I can tell you that. Like, I mean, I saw you a bunch of times during that era. I think I'm pretty certain I saw your first Bay Area appearance at the Pound.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
oh my God, dude.
I mean, you didn't seem nervous to me. Like,
I don't think I showed it, but I was freaking the fuck out. I remember you wanted us to play Altered Boy, right? And we had never really played it, right? So we've never really played it. So I listened to it. I was like, all right, let me refresh the lyrics, dude. And I swear to fucking Christ, dude, I'm not even fucking lying. I was, during the intro, I'm like, Gary, what's the first line? He goes, I don't know. And I went, I couldn't think of the words that I was, and then right before I had to sing, it just popped in my head.
It happens like that, right?
And I remembered it, dude.
Yeah. And as long as you can remember that first like
word.
3 words,
then you're good.
The whole avalanche kicks in. You miss the first 2 words, you're like, oh fuck,
what the
derail.
Fuck? You know what, man? Like people used to give me shit for not remembering the words, and I'm like, man, like I don't even smoke pot or do drugs or fucking I don't even drink alcohol. Like it's not something. Oh,
it just happens. Yeah.
I just don't remember them. And you know what? So the first.
I think that was probably people nitpicking. You know, your new the new guy. You know,
well, yeah. I mean, people, dude. My own lyrics. I don't remember. Like I need a cheat sheet every once in a while until we've done them like 3 nights in a row. Once if I did a tour. After night 3, I didn't need lyrics anymore. But the first couple shows are like, I'm just here, just having.
Oh, dude, I mean, I need lyrics for songs that I, played pretty, a good 5-year stretch of my life. I played nightly, and then we put it away, came back to it, and I'm like, what? I don't remember any of these fucking words.
Yeah, man. You know what? Does that ever happen to you on guitar? Do you ever forget the riff? I
never forget the riff. I never forget a lead. Like my brain's weird like that. Like I never forget a lead or a riff. But I remember something about like the lyrical.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then other times like the lyrics just come back like fucking we haven't done it in 20 years and I remember every fucking word.
Yeah, man. It's like that's kind of how like some of the stuff is. I just remember it. But like that's why people have teleprompters. You know what I mean? Like all the big
no shame in teleprompters.
There's no shame in it. And like people used to like fucking give me shit. I'm like, fuck, dude. What the fuck, man? Fuck off. You've never done this. Shut the fuck up.
Let's go back to New York. Early, you grew up in New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You started in Nyack, you said, or is that where you grew up?
Nyack. It's I think it's an Indian name. It's Nyack. NY.
Were you a musical person back then? Was your family musical?
My uncle Logan was he was the music column writer for the St. Petersburg Times in Florida. He was a bluegrass musician. He had a band called Whiskey Before Breakfast. He basically
That's a good name.
He gave me it is a good name, right? Fucking love that name. Whiskey Before Breakfast, yeah. They were a bluegrass band, very talented. His wife played stand-up bass. He played banjo and all the string instruments. He played a mandolin. He played guitar. He was fucking awesome. And he played a jug. They were fucking great. Anyway, he was when I was a kid, when I was probably like, I don't know, like 6 or something, I was living with my grandparents because my parents were like 16, 17 when they had me. So they were very young. And so I ended up being moved around a lot and from
not always there when they're that young.
Yeah. My parents were just kind of like, hey, we're real close now, but for a long time we weren't. And it was like 20. It took me until I was like 30 to forgive my parents and deal with
It's pretty rough.
It's a hard one, man.
Like
so
just passing you off to grandparents
who were drunk and alcoholics. So basically,
your grandparents.
Yeah. So basically, they were non-existent. I basically took care of myself.
Holy shit.
So, but my uncle lived near my grandparents, and like I said, he was a writer for the St. Petersburg Times, and he had given me a stack of albums, and he had given me. I was probably like 6 or 7. And he said, here, listen to these and give me back what you don't like. And I gave him back The Grateful Dead and Yes. And I kept Hendrix and Zappa and Sabbath and Jimi Hendrix and The Doors, who I fucking loved. And at the time, The Who, I loved The Who. So I kept all those bands and gave him back the progressive rock
That's
stuff.
A good start, man. Especially starting young, to Zappa,
dude.
that young.
Yeah, I was young, dude. And
is this like Joe's Garage kind of?
Yeah, it was the early stuff. Now, so I had there's pictures of me just with albums around me on the floor with headphones on because that's all I did. I just listened to music. I wasn't really allowed to watch TV, kind of. So I was forced to read, which it was good. I could listen to music whenever I wanted, but
why couldn't you watch TV?
Because they just thought it made you stupid.
Okay. It wasn't like
that's all they did. They watched TV and drank fucking martinis. But I just I could watch them up and show
be like
stuff.
us.
Yeah, but, do as we say, not as we do. So yeah, it was
Yeah,
So
my dad wouldn't let me watch some shows. Like I couldn't watch the show Soap.
Yeah,
because they had a gay dude in it. And like all
it
this
wasn't
stuff.
that.
But,
It was
yeah,
more. It was more just we want you to be intelligent. So
Okay.
you should read more and they encourage that kind of stuff as long as I get decent grades.
So what were you
they left
reading?
me
Like
alone.
sci-fi? Like what was?
A lot of sci-fi, a lot of the classics, of course.
Is this like Star Wars era?
It's a little before.
Okay.
So I was reading comic books and Mad Magazine and National Lampoon and stuff like that. So I was reading that kind of stuff, but I was also reading like. I remember reading Moby Dick. I remember reading the girl. It's about a girl who does a bunch of drugs. It inspired. I can't remember that fucking book. Well, it was about a girl who's just a normal person and she fucking goes to a party, she drinks a fucking beer, and next thing you know, she's fucking shooting heroin and selling her pussy. Like by the end of the book, she's fucking suicidal and I forget what book it was, but I remember reading it twice. I remember going, "Oh, this is fucked up," So,
did you? So you go through this phase, and then at some point you start.
My uncle gave me a guitar.
Okay.
When I was probably around 14, and I learned how to tune it. And this guy David showed me a couple chords. A friend of my mom's showed me, he was visiting and showed me a couple chords. And then I started
like songs or just C chord, D chord.
Yeah. So I knew chords and I started doing that. So then I just started playing like Misfits and like stuff that was really easy, like
punk rock
stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was really easy.
So you were already into punk rock at this point.
I was, but I was really into the Who and the Doors and all that, and then the Clash opened up for the Who at Shea Stadium, and that just changed everything. That just fucking.
And you went.
I didn't go,
but you knew about it. Like word on the street.
Word on the street was
back.
that. Yep, it was there, and I got the Clash, White Riot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't listen to class rock anymore for years. It just kind of went away.
Went down the punk rock rabbit hole.
Punk rock, and then and I was still listening to Black Sabbath and metal and Priest and the early. I was like a lot into Rush, of course, and but I didn't like. Wasn't really a big Motley Crue fan when that all kind of hit. Like I didn't.
You didn't relate to the LA glam stuff.
No. Because I wasn't very good looking for like I wasn't ever gonna put makeup on and shit like that. But we all had our moments with that shit. But I didn't fall into it. I didn't want to. I just was like,
I mean, that kind of took over New York too, right? Like there was a lot of glam bands.
There was, but it was all like the New York Dolls and fucking. It was like a weirder. It wasn't L.A.
Yeah, right,
It was New York style. So
yeah.
And then, fucking, I cling to music was like that savior, man. I had but I was also listening at this time, I was listening to Elton John and I was listening to, the slower stuff that Rush really talked to me. And I was very lonely. I didn't have many friends. I was very, introverted and I wasn't, I'd say when I started drinking when I was 15, my personality changed. Before that, I was very shy, got picked on a lot, beat up, fucking just, very closed off, didn't talk to anybody, didn't tell anybody anything ever. No one ever asked. They don't know. Said, "Hey, how do you feel?" Because at 14,
yeah, I mean, you had alcoholic grandparents and parents that weren't there, so like
nobody was.
They're not
going
to check in.
No. So at 14, I don't.
Were your grandparents? Do you remember like grandparents being like bad drunks? Were they like? Was there a lot of fighting?
My grandmother was very mean, but not to me because I was the first grandchild. So I was like pretty much she didn't ever treat me badly. She treated everyone else like fucking total dog shit. And my grandfather.
Did you know that they were drunk back then? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I knew, and my grandfather, he actually had quit drinking. He had to because he had a stroke and he couldn't walk.
Oh, wow.
And he couldn't really move his body. He was pretty much, he could light a cigarette and he pretty much smoked cigarettes. So basically it was a very sad, tragic, two very smart, well gifted people. My grandfather was so gifted. My grandmother was so fucking smart. And the alcohol just ruined their lives. And they were young, man. They weren't even old. They were young. And you know, and I honestly at 14, I was suicidal. I didn't really know enough to like, ooh, if I get a gun or if I take pills, like I just didn't want to live. I just was very unhappy and very, if I had, I always said if I was fucking smarter, I would have found a way to kill myself. My best plan I had was because I live near the beach, and I figured if I swam far enough, I would eventually not be able to get back if I kept swimming out. That was my best plan. And I was like, oh, and I just didn't have the I guess I've had a couple of friends kill themselves, and I guess it takes an enormous amount of sadness, and I've lived in it.
Something pulled you through that.
Something, I don't know what got me there. You know what? A lot of times I would say it was music or books or whatever I was reading at the time, or if it was, but I remember.
Sometimes it's just a drive.
Yeah. But I got through it, and
then you started drinking.
I started drinking, and
drinking pull you through it?
I think drinking got me through it, man.
Drinking saved my life.
It really did, dude, for a period of time. Like, because I remember when I first started drinking, like I also started lifting weights. So I stopped being a person that could be picked on. Right. I also grew to like, almost 6 feet where I am now. You know what I mean? Like I got a lot bigger and stronger, and I started lifting weights, and I was a runner. I ran a lot. I didn't, and I just stopped taking.
And you kind of like, alcohol. The alcohol kind of brings out like,
it gives you balls that you don't have.
Like
you know what
courage.
I mean? So I remember drinking beers before going to a party, just so I walked in already feeling at fucking ease. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I took that third, fourth beer, I could talk to girls now, and I could fucking I wasn't, you weren't gonna, and then
little bravado,
walk around, and then I started drinking harder liquor, and that turned into, I started like blacking out. I started fighting. I started becoming violent. Like I just started becoming crazy, and that engulfed my life for the next 10 years. I mean, I was, I went to prison. I did some.
What'd you go to prison for?
Selling drugs.
Selling coke?
LSD. Yeah, LSD and pot. Got busted for both.
Yeah, and this is during your kind of blackout. You're not in a band during any of this, right? Like you're just kind of.
I wanted to be
just being Robb Duke's crazy man.
Yeah, man, I was going to a lot of shows. I saw Exodus during this period. I saw them on the tour with Anthrax and.
So you're into you get into thrash somewhere in here.
Yeah, I remember going to sing King Diamond, and I didn't get it, and I was drunk as shit, and I started grabbing people by the back of their t-shirt and just ripping them off. And dude, I was fucking jacked at this time, dude. All I did was lift weights and fucking drink, and I was fucking jacked. And I remember punching the security guard through the gate, like bam, right in the face, and then all of them just came after me, and I didn't give a fuck, man. My friends were like, dude, you're fucking crazy. Why do you?
Did you get laid after you started drinking or before you started drinking?
I didn't get laid till I was 18, dude. I was a fucking late bloomer.
So after you were drinking?
Yeah. No, I didn't get laid before that. It was after. Yeah, and then there were just so many like just horrible things that happened. I saw the Exodus show. Then I was at Exodus when the stage collapsed, and that was when I met Exodus the first time when I got on the bus on the Megadeth tour in 2004.
This is just you friending them?
No, I was hired as a guitar tech.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Right, and I walk on the bus and I was like, "Hey, man," they're all sitting there, Rick, all of them, Tom, and I go, "Hey, man, I remember this show. It was probably like '86. I was there. The fucking stage, the barrier collapsed and crushed two of the security guards between the stage and the barrier." And they go, "We remember that show." And I was like, dude, I was there. I was the one throwing shit at the cops when they fucking, it was crazy. It was mayhem. They actually, the cops lined, Exodus played maybe two songs, maybe a song. I don't remember. I remember it happened during their set. The the whole thing. And Anthrax played like, maybe they played a song before it got shut down. There was a cop car on fire outside. It was a total fucking riot.
What is this, Bono by Blood era? Like
this
Pleasures?
is Riot Pleasures. This is right out. This is
Zetro.
Yeah, this is that. This wasn't So this was like 86, 87 around there.
Okay.
And it was fucking mayhem, dude. It was like the Iron Maiden, Judas Priest at Nassau Coliseum, that same thing.
Oh, I never heard about that.
Cop cars on fire, cars flipped over in the parking lot, people just losing their fucking minds, man. People, M80s getting thrown into the pit.
Oh, I remember that, man. Dude, that was like a thing for a while.
Dude, it was fucking terrifying.
Fucking hated that,
You'd
dude.
be in the
Who
pit.
the fuck? Like, fuck you. You know, like fucking M80 explodes and
right
fucking
near your
4
face.
feet above your fucking head. Like,
I had
fuck
one go
you.
off about a foot away from me. He's like, boom. I'm like, God damn, that scares the shit out of me.
Dude, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
And I was
It can fucking hurt can injure you. Like,
you could be
seriously bad.
Yeah,
that was a thing. I remember seeing Maiden and that happened. Fucking dudes threw an M80 on stage and it went off near Dave Murray and fucking Dickinson flipped the fuck out.
Dude, yeah, man. They were doing that that was the Judas Priest Iron Maiden show at Nassau. I was there for that. I was thrown out of so I went to see Yngwie one time. It's probably like 89, 90.
Were you an Yngwie fan?
No.
Did you just go to start?
No,
you just
man.
Went to
I was really
bother
drunk.
people at the Yngwie show.
It was the first show I'd ever been to where you had to sit down, where it had seats. I'm like,
okay.
What the fuck is this, man? I'd never been to a show like that.
Yeah.
Ever. I'd never been to a show where people actually
like
sat
a theater, like a theater.
Like a theater.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this, man? I'm like 5 rows back. This fucking dude, I forget his name, but he loved Yngwie. And he's like, dude, Yngwie's the greatest guitarist of all time. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, no way. Like, fucking Steve Vai is the best. Like, or Frank Zappa. Like, this Yngwie sucks. I remember like thinking that, but I knew he was good, but I just didn't want to admit it. But he had the singer Jolyn Turner, right? And I'm sitting there. So I had this idea. I drank a bottle of vodka on the subway going there. And I was going to I'm going to meet Lita Ford and I'm going to bang Lita Ford. That's going to be, because she opened, right? So we fucking go to the show. I'm drunk. I don't even see Lita Ford. I'm in the lobby drinking more. And I'm in my seat. I remember going to my seat and I'm sitting on my drink. I'm like, and it was the time, remember when they would throw the guitar around them?
Yes.
All right. That was new. That had kind of just started. And I was like, dude, why is he so bad? Like, I guess every time he throws a guitar around, it's because he's fucked up and he can't fucking play whatever he was supposed to play. And he was just terrible, right? So Jolyn Turner they have this song, and it's like an acoustic kind of thing, and he's doing his best Robert Plant impression. Eyes closed, hands on his hips, head back, singing. And I was like, dude, I'll see you later, man. I'll meet you at the car. And my friend goes, what? And I jumped up out of my seat and I ran to the front because there was no barrier. There was no...
Yeah, it's just seats up to the front of the stage.
And there was no security. Dude, he's singing. I grabbed the bottom of the microphone stand and I just fucking threw it across the stage. So he's singing and all of a sudden the mic just fucking disappears. And he opens his eyes and I went, fuck you! And I fucking...
wow.
Now there's security chasing me. And I fucking run out. I remember being, I think it was at the Beacon Theater, and I was standing in the middle of like fucking 74th Street, like, oh, fuck you. And they blackened my eye. I got a black eye out of the deal. And I was so proud of that black eye, man. Like, fuck Yngwie, man. And I remember going home, and my friend was like, dude, you ruined that show. I'm like, nah, I made that show memorable. Fuck you. Yeah.
So you start selling drugs, this is before you're selling drugs or after selling drugs?
This is before. I mean, I was kind of always, I lived at the beach for a while and I sold weed and occasionally LSD. I was taking a lot of LSD. I took LSD for a couple years and I took a lot of hallucinogenics, mushrooms, smoked a lot of weed, took a lot of LSD for a couple years.
I mean, I know we talked at one point, I had gotten sober and I'm not sober now, but I had gotten sober for about a year, and you and I had a really rad talk, and you totally like kept me on path for a while, and I needed to do it. Like I needed to kind of just read,
right.
And I was a mess. And but you were telling me about how you like it escalated well past acid and mushrooms, and that you were doing heroin for a while, and that
coke.
Yeah.
I did coke for a lot of coke, man. I was working in New York, and I was making way more money than I'd ever made in my life, and I was just able to afford.
What are you doing?
I was working at the New York Times, driving a truck at 11 at night till 7 in the morning.
Okay.
Making a shit.
And doing heroin and coke, huh?
Just doing coke at the time.
Yeah.
Heroin was later. I only did heroin a very short period of time, and I didn't enjoy it. I liked uppers. I wanted to, like, alcohol made me fucking, like, it was like taking speed, which I've never taken speed, but I fucking, goddamn.
It's like coke, yeah.
I fucking loved alcohol, man, more than anything else. Anything else I could stop at a drop of a hat. Like, I stopped taking LSD. I stopped smoking weed at one point. Alcohol became the one thing that was the constant, you know.
Yeah. And you liked coke.
I liked coke. I used to actually pour coke into my drink so I could drink more, so I could just stay awake. It was more about being awake more than anything else.
Did you get all horny on coke? I
didn't like the drip.
Was that like the big thing?
No, not really.
I know a lot of people I know, like when they get coke, they get like all fucking horny. And
maybe for a while, but that, you know, alcoholism, man, when it hits you, dude, it's the only thing. Like, I didn't give a fuck about, you know, anything else.
Yeah.
I mean,
were you a drinking in the morning kind of guy?
No, but I would drink.
Start like 5 o'clock after work.
Yeah, if I was working, but if I wasn't working, I'd drink it. You know, I'd drink in the morning. Fuck, if I was there was a time when I was just selling drugs, and I drank around the clock.
Yeah,
you know, I drank fucking. Yeah, it was bad. I was a fucking raging fucking alcoholic, and people that knew me at the time didn't think I was going to live to see 25. That was what they had said behind my back. They were like, that dude is not going to live. He's just too fucking crazy. Oh, and it was always anything I did, it was always like alcohol induced. Like I would, when I'm sober, I was actually quite normal and quite just, but I hated myself. I hated being in my own skin. I couldn't stand, there were no mirrors in my home. I didn't, you know,
no mirrors, huh?
I didn't have mirrors, man.
Yeah.
I was just,
that's heavy, man.
I hated myself, dude.
Yeah.
Hated, like, just loathe. And couldn't stand the person that I was. And so I stopped drinking, and I started going to AA.
What, did you hit rock bottom? Is there a rock bottom?
I
like,
stood in,
you just I gotta fucking.
I stepped out in front of a snowplow when it was snowing in New York, and I wanted it to fucking hit me, and the guy just stopped and was like, "The fuck are you doing? Get the fuck out of the road!" Like, and I wanted him to run me the fuck over. I was done. I just couldn't live, and I've told this story a handful of times, and and I probably haven't told you, so I'll tell you. But it was snowing out. It was March 13th, 1993, and it was one of the biggest snowstorms in New York history, and it pretty much closed the city for about 3-4 days. But that Friday night, Friday the 13th, I was at this bar, and I was fucking hammered, and I was drunk as shit, and I was doing coke. And I wasn't doing coke. I was pouring coke into my drink so I could fucking keep drinking, because I was just so, I just had a birthday, and no one gave a fuck. No one called me. And I didn't want them to anyways. At this point, I was so belligerent and just actually just, you know, suicidal, but not having a way means. I was hoping that, I was like that guy from Leaving Las Vegas. I was just hoping that I still wouldn't wake up. Every day I woke up, I was like, fuck, man, I wish I did something that keep me from waking up. And it was tragically and comically just the way I'd become. You know, that's what alcohol and drugs did to me. And so I'm walking in the snowstorm, and I was walking up there was this hill. It was like a slight incline, and I'm walking.
You're leaving the bar.
I left the bar. The bar closed. It was like, you know, fucking 4 a.m. And the dude, he's coming down the road, and I'm going, I hope this guy runs out of control, because it's snowing out and there's no other cars on the road. I haven't seen a car in a long time, and I go, I hope he runs out of control and fucking runs me over. That'd be fucking awesome. You know what I mean? I just kind of stood there and kind of hoped that it would happen, and he just stopped, and he opened the door, and he's like, "What the fuck you doing, man? You need a ride?" And I'm like, sure, man. He goes, "Where are you going?" I go,
"Oh, he offered you a ride."
Offered me a ride, right?
Wow.
So I get in the back seat. I have a 40 ounce of Crazy Horse, and I have like an 8-ball in my pocket, right?
Crazy Horse is like malt liquor, right?
It's like a malt liquor, right? So him and his girl are in the front seat, and I get in the back seat of this big. It was like a big old Chevy Catalina, but 4-door, this fucking huge boat. And he goes, well, we're going toward there. We'll drop you off at your house.
This is the snowplow.
No, this is a car.
Oh, this is just a random car. Gotcha.
Snowplow happened.
Okay, gotcha.
So this guy, he goes, we got to make a stop off, and then we'll take you home. I'm like, okay, cool. And we pull into this like complex.
So just some random
dude.
Person steps into your life.
Random guy. So his wife gets out of the car. His girl gets out of the car. And he turns around and goes, so what's your fucking deal, dude? I'm like, oh, man. I was
You're
like,
hammered. What do you, I know, like,
I actually said.
I'm sitting here thinking, like, would I pick up a motherfucker this hammered? Like, Jesus Christ, what a good Samaritan, man. Fuck.
Dude, long fucking hair.
Okay.
Down in my waist.
And you had long hair, yeah.
I wear an overkill fuck you t-shirt, leather jacket, ripped up fucking jeans, fucking Timberland.
Not
fucking
the dude
boots.
you pick up at 4 in the fucking morning.
You don't pick this guy up, man. Anyway, so.
What a nice
he turns on,
man.
And he goes, well, what's your deal, man? And I said, I was kind of hoping you were going to run me the fuck over, dude, but you fucking stopped, and now I'm in your car. And he goes, oh, fuck. He goes, well, do you want to get some help? And I said, man, there's no help in me, dude. He goes, come on, man, I can get you some help. He goes, why don't you finish that beer, and we'll take a walk inside, and we'll get you some help. So I finished my beer and did the rest of my coke, and he walked me inside this building. So his girl, it turns out his girl was getting methadone. That's why he was out at 5 a.m.
Okay.
So she wouldn't get sick. So this was a hospital that we were at. And
methadone is for people who used to be on heroin, but now do
right. They do methadone to kind of get off heroin.
Yes.
Right? And the government gives it to you. The counties give it to you. State funded. So he walks me inside, and I remember some of the details. I remember thinking this is kind of like Alice's Restaurant. We're sitting on this little bench, and they gave us little pencils, and we were fucking. Like, that's what I remember. Like, just.
And what are you doing with the pencils?
I was filling out information, man. I remember that song.
So it's like a rehab.
So it was a detox, but I didn't know this at the time. So I talked to this doctor. I don't remember what I said, but obviously they said, okay, we have a bed for you, and.
So they admit you.
They admit me in, and so
on site. I mean, like
right then
and there.
And though Mike and this guy and his girl walk me down the hallway, get to all the way to the end of this hallway, and there's a door, and the door opens up, and there's this little fat nurse standing there. She goes, "Oh, look at you," and she goes, "We have a bed for you." And I'm like, "Okay." And the guy Mike, he says, "Hey man, my name's Mike Bernstein, and I hope you get the help you need." And he gave me a hug. And this girl gave me a hug, and I never saw him again. I looked him up, and I never drank again. Wow,
man.
Yeah.
What an amazing story. Like, that's just crazy. Like, you're about to cry, too, like, remembering it, dude. It's fucking really, I'm like, fucking, dude, that was heavy.
Yeah.
That's really heavy. And, like, the fact that he did that, and that you never saw him again. Like, how
crazy
crazy is that?
I remember I was on probation at the time for selling drugs, and I remember going to my producer and telling her what I did, because I didn't tell anybody where I was for like a month, and then I called her to tell her. I was like, hey, I'm in this fucking detox, and they're keeping me in this this program for like 30 days, and she was like, oh, okay, cool, right on, good, that's good for you. All right, I'm glad you're there. All right, cool. And then I got out, and I went to a.
Did you go through withdrawals or anything?
No, none of that.
Just like more mental.
Yeah, I was mentally fucked up, dude. At this point, I'm a fucking nightmare. I mean, I didn't sleep. I wasn't really eating. I was just a fucking mess.
And you're meeting with the doctors regularly. And,
I met this dude.
Was it like an AA? Like you're kind of getting in a group? And,
yes.
Yeah.
So I go to this. This rehab for 30 days, and I meet this guy Bob Matthews, who was this. He looks like me now. He had a big beard and fucking losing his hair, and fucking he was funny as shit. He was so like matter of fact, with everyone, and then I opened up to him. I told him like I hadn't like. No, I'm 25 years old. I just turned 25, and I'd never spoken to anybody in my entire life about anything. Like, Rob, I'm not even kidding. Like, I didn't, like girlfriends and friends, like they didn't know anything about me. I didn't tell them anything. They just knew me for that time, whatever short period of time that was. I didn't hold on to friends very long. I didn't stay.
And whatever you put out, like whatever
I didn't tell anybody
mask
anything.
you were wearing at the time.
I was just a fucking drunken nightmare. Like that's what I was. I was just but I was like, I was kind of like, I imagine if I had money, I would have been like David Lee Roth. I was just I was fun to be around.
Yeah.
Very unpredictable.
Crazy. Yeah.
My friends were like, dude, you were just so unpredictable. That was the craziest part. My one friend
like
said,
you could be funny 1 minute and just crazy violent the next.
Yeah. If we knew you were at a spot, we didn't go there. We went somewhere else.
That's not good.
Yeah. It's fucked up, right? So anyway, I meet this guy, Bob, and I fucking, there's a all 12-step programs. They have like a 12-step in their basis, and I just I bought into it because I was so like drinking didn't work, and nothing that I did was working. So I just figured I'd give it a try. You know what I mean? So I did it wholeheartedly. I did it. I was So Bob said, "Hey man, like I go, what do I do? Like, what the fuck do I do? How do I stay sober, and how do I not kill myself or anyone around me?" And he goes, "Well, you got to figure out who you are." You know what I mean? And so he goes, "Maybe, he goes, I know you guys with your long hair, you love having long hair. Maybe cut it off and you'll always grow back, and you could do it just to give yourself a sense of who you are.
See something new.
See who you are." So that night I went in and fucking cut my hair off and shaved my beard and put on a regular just a t-shirt and jeans, and he came in the next day and he was fucking blown away. He's like, "Dude." So he actually snuck me out of the hospital in his car and took me to his house, and he took me through the 12 steps that night. Like we fucking went, like he went above and beyond what he was supposed to. He could have lost his job for what he did, but he said,
he saw something
later years later. He said, he goes, "Dude, I just knew that you were so fucking desperate to not be that person that you needed to push, and the push that was gonna come from yourself, but you needed to realize that there was a life worth living without alcohol." Because I didn't have one. I didn't know, at that point. And so got a job.
Didn't you? I want to say like somewhere around this time, did you meet Jeff Hickey?
No, I met Jeff Hickey later. I met this was later. At this point, I met my friend Craig Cifola, who I did the Exodus DVD with. And,
okay.
I make music with him. We've been friends for since I was 25, so like 26, 27 years.
Is he sober too, or
he was just a regular dude, but he
was not a crazy blackout.
He actually was totally the opposite of me. He was completely normal, but he had a really sick sense of humor. So that's kind of where we bonded. And we liked the same kind of music. So he bought the drums and I bought a guitar and we started playing, and it just, we were fucking horrible, but we tried, and we just did what we wanted.
That's the best though, right?
Yeah,
like
we
you're
didn't
just
care,
sucking
man.
And you're just playing and it's awesome.
But we had fun. We were having fun, man. We played in his basement, and his wife cut my hair, and she says, "I'll give you free haircuts if you don't smoke in my house," because I smoked cigarettes at the time. So I was like, okay. So we'd play, and I'd go outside and I'd smoke a cigarette and come back in, and we'd play, and we made videos, and we played pool a lot, and we went to movies constantly, and we hung out as much as we could. And then he had a kid, and all that kind of took a back seat, but we always still did stuff. But he became a father, and his life went one way and my life went another. So I met Jeff Hickey in 2004.
Are you already in Exodus?
No. I met Jeff Hickey in 2002.
So do you start teching before this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I teched before I met Exodus. I was already doing it for a while. I was doing it for a couple of years, actually, at this point.
Who's the first?
Jeff Hickey got my first gig.
Did he? Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, he was on the road with a lot of bands.
Yeah, he actually got me a gig with
knew every porn person.
Yeah, he was
in the world.
Yeah, that was the downside to the Jeff Hickey years. Yeah. So I didn't. What I did was he got me in with this guy Brian Bishop and Josh Bagel, and they were guys that worked at Clear Channel, but they weren't Clear Channel. Wasn't Clear Channel yet. It wasn't. It was just a company that So we did like Coachella and Stagecoach, and we did all the shows in Anaheim, and
like a promoter.
Yeah,
this is in L.A.
No, this is in L.A. Yeah, I moved to L.A. in 2000.
Oh, okay. So you moved to L.A. from New York.
Yeah, and so I was working at like the El Rey and the Vine. I was working at all the clubs, man. So basically, dude, you could make, $300-400 a night, 6-7 nights a week if you wanted. If it was really how hard you wanted to work, but you could go unload bands at the El Rey, then fly up to the fucking Key Club, unload a band there, go to Roxy, unload a band there, fly down to the Viper Room, then fucking head out to wherever. You could do 4 or 5 gigs, and then when showtime ended, you could just bounce back and load them back in, man, and fucking make fucking money, man. I was bartending and bar backing at the Dragonfly.
Wow, look at you go. You're sober and bartending and bar backing.
Oh yeah, I was bartending in year 4 of my sobriety.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, what a test.
Yeah.
Like testing yourself. Like, I can fucking do this.
It wasn't even a testing, because I actually, at this point...
That's kind of funny that you brought that up. I did the same thing. I was totally hooked on speed, and then I quit speed and started dealing it to prove to myself that I wouldn't do it, which is the stupidest fucking logic, now, in retrospect.
Yeah, what's crazy, I love being in a bar.
But I was like, I got to make money. I can't get high on my own supply, which makes stupid, but
I love being in a bar. I love the bar atmosphere. Like, I'd be a great bar owner.
Yeah,
because I know how to make everybody have fun. Like I don't go and sit at bars anymore. Actually, you know what? That's funny. Like, so last April, my buddy Bobby Kelly, the comedian, he came out here to do shows, and I was hanging out with him, and I did his podcast, and we were talking about, and we smoked a cigar. Now, I hadn't smoking since 2004. I'd quit cigarettes and everything in 2004. And
good for you.
And then my battle has been food ever since. That's kind of like my fucking downfall.
Man's got to have a vice.
My vices suck, man. Yeah. So last April, so I was like,
sex your vice.
I wish it was, man. Yeah, it was for a long time, and then it just kind of, I got old. Fucking take blue pills that fucking
your sperms got old.
It's all gray and fucking bald, fucking yeah. So I do this podcast and I smoke a cigar, and I was like, dude, I don't want to smoke cigarettes. And he goes, it's totally different, man. It's not even the fucking same. So since April, I've been smoking cigars pretty regularly. I have a fucking humidor in my house. I fucking have a
like a daily.
No, not every day.
Yeah, like weekends.
I'd say 3 nights a week at least, at a minimum. But there's this little bar right by my house. It's just a cigar bar.
Okay.
They sell beer and wine, but they sell cigars. And I'd go there, and they got all these nice, comfortable chairs. And I became friends with all the dudes. Matter of fact, those are the guys that are coming tomorrow with me.
Okay.
Like, a couple of them got
cigar
tickets.
guys.
They're all just cigar guys I met. And guys I would never, if I met them in real life, I'd be like, all right, I wouldn't even talk to them. But it's such an eclectic class of people. Like, there's like rich guys, and then there's the regular working guys, and then there's guy like I asked them all, like, how the fuck did you start smoking cigars? My dad got me into it when I was like 20. Mm-hmm. I started doing it in college, and fucking it just kind of stuck. And yeah, and I have to say, man, like, I never knew the cigar culture until 6-7 months ago, but it's such a relaxing thing. Like, I know why people smoke cigars now. I know that because it's an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on the cigar.
Yeah.
And you don't inhale, so it's not really affecting your lungs. There is nicotine and stuff, but I don't. It's not like a cigarette where you crave it every fucking 20 minutes. Like, I don't even think about them until it's like, oh, I'm fucking gonna go home. Oh yeah, maybe I'll fucking have time. But you can't do anything else. So it's a perfect time to like listen to podcasts, catch up on the news, and smoke and just chill and just fucking relax. It is the most relaxing thing I have in my life right now. It's because everything is so fucking high stress. My job is fucking high stress. Music took a back seat about 6 months ago. Unfortunately, I'm going through a separation with my wife, and it's been really unhappy. And so to be able to get out of work and stop at this place a couple nights a week and sit down by myself and put headphones on, listen to, Pink Floyd, The Wall, or, Dark Side of the Moon, smoke a cigar for an hour. It's been keeping me sane.
Yeah.
Along with
decompress.
Yeah, man, totally. And,
let's go back to, so you start roadieing for.
Oh, Yeah, I started roadie in LA. So I'd like
teching.
Tech. I was a roadie, man. I was just doing loading and unloading gear. Coachella was a big payday. Coachella was like $5,000 in like 2 weeks,
shit.
man. You do like 2 weeks, and you get like $5,000. You had to do stagecoach and both. Country went after. You come home with $5,000, man, if you worked your ass off. You know what I mean? That was a nice payday, and
This is 2000s.
This is early 2000s, right? So Coachella like 4 or 5 years in a row, and then I was doing like every band, man. I was loading in everybody. And then I went on tour with Josh Todd, who was Buck Cherry.
Okay.
Right? So I went on tour with them, did a tour with them, came home, did a tour with I was working for Camp Freddy.
And you're guitar teching?
Yeah, I was guitar teching for Camp Freddy, and
that was like the Viper Room jam band, right?
Right. They were. It was like Dave Navarro and Jerry Cantrell, and it was like they were cool. They were playing all sorts of cool parties, man. Like the best one they ever played was this. It was in the fucking. It was a model night.
Oh my god,
dude!
It's like.
It was
hot,
fucking
barely dressed
Culver,
women.
It was Culver City, Mercedes-Benz.
Culver City,
okay. Fucking LA. So in between Beverly Hills and fucking Venice, right?
Yeah.
So it was Mercedes-Benz sponsored it, and it was fucking awesome, man. That's all I remember. It was fucking great. What a great fucking weekend that was. And so I'm doing that. I'm doing loading in all these other bands. I'm fucking having a blast, man. I'm living in LA. I live right near the beach.
You're sober,
fucking hanging out with my buddies, man. Just like a couple guys I work with. We all, and hung out with Hickey for a while. He's a little crazy for me, but he was sober at the time. But he was having a rough time. But he was. The thing about Jeff Hickey is he was such a kind-hearted person. He was just so fucking angry at the world for whatever reason.
I knew him from the Coal Chamber tours. That's how I met him.
Yeah.
And he was not sober.
No, he was probably a fucking lunatic, man. Yeah.
Maniac.
Yeah.
He's an animal.
Yeah. I never hung out with him when he wasn't sober. I couldn't handle it. I could barely handle it when he was sober.
He was a great guy, though. I did like him.
But
I enjoyed being around him. He was always funny and wacky.
He would give you his last dollar. Here you go.
Yeah.
If you need, I mean, he was that kind of guy.
I think my fondest memory, or my strong. I don't want to say my fondest. My strongest memory is him telling me about blowing coke up chicks' asses and shit like that. Mine was. I have no idea why this memory is stuck in my brain, but just this conversation that we had, and I was like, "Wow!"
Did you tell that?
And then I wanted to do that, and then I never did it, and I'm glad I never did it.
It's like fucking a chick with a fish, like Zeppelin. I wish I didn't do that.
Yeah.
But do you ever tell you the story when Filthy Phil gave him the hamburger? It was shit.
No.
So they were barbecuing outside the bus.
This is Motorhead?
Motorhead. He was on tour with Motorhead, and they're all making fucking burgers and shit. And they fucking took a shit and put it on bread and gave it to him, and he took a big old bite.
Oh,
dude.
Oh,
yeah.
That goes beyond practical joke.
I would have beat the living fuck out of Filthy Phil. Dude, Filthy Phil would have he would have had the shit beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah,
dude.
That's way beyond practical joke.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah.
So then he
calls me one night. He says, "Hey, man, the Megadeth and Exodus are at the Palladium, and the guitar tech just got fired. Do you want to go?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. What's it pay?" He's like, it's like fucking $1,200 a week cash. I'm like, "Okay, I'll go." It's like 3 weeks. I'm like, "All right, cool. It's fucking $3,500."
Oh, they want to hire you?
Yeah. So I go, "Okay." He goes, "We'll be at the Palladium and fucking at 2 a.m. And I go, "Okay." So I fucking go home. I just got off. I was on a small tour. Came home, did my laundry real quick. Fucking shaved my mohawk. I had a mohawk at the time. It was like fucking blue or pink.
Why'd you shave your mohawk?
I shaved the sides because I'd been on the road.
Oh, gotcha.
I'd been on the road for like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I just cleaned up real quick.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let me fucking. And then I go, I get there and I got my bag and I fucking get on the bus and there's Rick and Gary and Tom. And Steve Escobar was singing because Zed had fucking left them fucking dry.
What? Oh, that's right. I remember this
Steve
now.
Escobar
Fuck, I forgot about that. Crazy.
Right. So we start telling
Steve
stories.
Escobar from Skin Lab singing for Exodus. Shout out to Steve Escobar.
Yeah, man. And I think Matt Harvey had done a few shows for them, and he was the guy that was supposed to be the next singer. That was the guy they wanted. From
who?
So I think his name was Matt Harvey.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know either. I don't
Okay.
remember. Anyway, so Steve Esquivel singing.
Okay.
So I'm the guitar tech, man.
And it's them and Megadeth and Steve Esquivel singing.
Yeah, and Megadeth was the headliner, of course, and there was a band in between, and I wish I remember the name, but I don't. But so Exodus was opening.
Okay.
And they came out and they were playing like a bunch of tempo stuff, and like they played 30 minutes, right? And I was taking care of Gary, Rick, and Jack.
Doing the back line.
Doing the guitar teching.
Yeah.
Right? And Rick told me it was the first tour that he ever did that him and Gary never broke strings. Like they were that was the best tech they ever had, which was a nice thing to say to me.
That's awesome.
So, but regardless of that, so during this tour,
Tom Hunting on drums.
Tom Hunting on drums.
Yeah, one of the greatest
Oh,
drummers ever of all time.
Yeah, one of my favorite people.
Great dude, amazing dude.
Yeah,
And
just a beautiful
fucking
human being.
ridiculous drummer.
Ridiculous drummer. Thinks you know what the worst part is? He doesn't even think he's that good.
He's so good. He's so good.
But when you watch the band, that's all you stare at. Like,
Dude,
God damn, how the fuck is he doing that?
His style, I have every drum roll probably from those first 3 records, like carved into my, the synapses of my brain.
Right.
I know, like if it's, like it's off, but it's so on. Like it's, you fucking love him.
Dude, I used to love being in the studio with him and just fucking with him. Like in the song Iconoclasm, I was the one that I said, dude, you should fucking roll all the way down and then roll all the way back up. And then at the next time, roll fucking all the way up and then all the way down.
Nice.
And that's how he did it. He goes, yeah, fucking Dukes came up with that one. Like, I just wanted to hear it,
So you're teching, so you're teching for the guys.
So I'm teching for Exodus and Esquivel singing and so like it's one of those things, man, where like being who I was, we would just tell stories, and we all got very close very quickly. It was like we were brethren from another life, you know what I mean? Because I was one of those kids who was going to see Exodus. I was a fan. I was like, yeah, man. And then when I think right after Fabulous, I kind of lost interest. I think Force of Habit was
same here.
I just kind of well, okay, and I moved on to something else in my life. Right. So at that point, I knew a bunch of the songs, but I didn't know them. Like I didn't like it's one of those things, man. Where
people, they're doing a bunch of Tempo of the Damn stuff.
They're doing tempos because Tempo had just come out.
Gotcha.
And
they're not doing a lot of the older stuff.
No, they were doing Toxic. They were doing like. Bonded, they were doing Lesson, and then they were doing the rest of it was like they were opening with fucking Star Spangled Banner,
okay,
and closing with Toxic, and then they were doing other songs like they were actually interchanging because what happened was Esquivel was trying to remember lyrics. He had these huge. Dude, he had fucking cheat sheets that were 3 feet by 2 feet. And
why are people giving him shit for forgetting the lyrics?
Yeah.
Huh?
But he was doing it on a week's notice. He had like Zed.
Right.
Like Zed did one of those things where he didn't answer the phone. He just turned his phone off and didn't show up. And
I don't know if I heard this.
Phone.
I don't know if I heard it.
That's what they told me. They said he didn't show up and he didn't answer his phone. And a tour, they were leaving like in 2 days. So
fuck.
So Esquivel had like 2 days to learn the fucking lyrics. So he just had these huge cheat sheets. So anyway, he was having fun. He was having a hard time. I think he was more like he wanted to do Skin Lab more. He wasn't really. He wanted to do it, but he didn't want to do it at the same time. I don't really know.
I'm trying to picture Exodus with Steve Esquivel singing. Like he's got such a different voice.
It was fine, man.
It's heavy. Like lower. It'd be like lower, more.
It
like,
was just but it was fucking awesome, man. I mean, cool. I was having fun. I didn't give a fuck.
Badass.
So the last show of the tour, they said, "Hey, man, come up and sing a song." I'm like, okay. So I got up and I sang something, and then.
You don't remember what?
I do.
Come on, you remember.
No, I don't.
Your first song was Exodus.
My first song. I don't remember the name of it. It was the one.
It was a newer song.
No. It was the Salad song. What was the opening of that fucking record?
Oh, Last Act of Defiance.
No.
Yeah, it's a salad. I like baked potato.
Yeah.
Sour cream, chives.
What's the first song on the record?
Last Act of Defiance.
Oh, is it?
The Last Act.
Okay, it's on that album, but it's not that song.
Okay. Deranged?
It was Deranged.
Deranged. Yes, that's a banger right there.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a first song.
I fucking ruined it, man. I fucking totally Gary's like, you'll be all right. And I'm like, no sound check, nothing. All right.
Oh, just what? No rehearsal.
Fucking just showed up and burp. Yeah, fucking ruined. But I acted like I knew what the fuck I was doing. Yeah. So that was enough, right?
Yeah.
So, I go home. I did a tour. I went from their tour to another tour, said goodbye. And then Christmas Eve, I was getting tattooed in New York, and my phone rings, and it's fucking Gary. And I was like, he's like, hey man, fucking Merry Christmas, dude. I'm like,
You're
hey,
getting tattooed?
I was getting tattooed. I was at a tattoo shop, and I was like, hold on a second, I gotta take this call, and I fucking walk outside, and Gary says, hey man, Merry Christmas, how you doing? Blah blah. He goes, hey, listen, we were all talking, and we think that you should come out and audition to be the singer. I'm like, all right. I've never done it before, but yeah, all right. I'll fucking.
I mean, that's pretty much this other time you sing to range. Is this your first time singing, running a band?
No, I'd sung in a band before, but not at this level. I was in a fucking, dumb barman that we played maybe 3 shows in a year. You know what I mean? Like one of those. You know what I mean? I was playing.
This is a whole new.
This is a whole new level.
Like, why
dude.
are you like? I'm your guitar tech. What are you talking about?
And I was in New York at the time. So I was in New York for the holidays, and I lived in LA. So I was like, well, I'll be here for until after New Year's, and then I'll head back to LA, and then I'll pick a weekend and I'll come up. And they're like, okay. So I did that. I went back to LA, and I remember driving up.
So they give you a list of songs to learn.
No, they didn't. They said anything off of the set list that they had. Like they gave me a list of things. So I picked War Is My Shepherd and Lesson in Violence. So I wanted to do No Love because No Love was one of my favorite songs. So
love that song.
But I picked.
Weird time though, you could have fucked that one up.
Yeah, and I fucking Bonded had that weird little fucking thing in the beginning. That little and it's not on. Oh, it's on 1. I go, no, it's not. I don't care what the fuck you tell me. It's not on 1, dude. There's like a little. It's an on and 1 and then you start. It's not. It's. Anyway, fucking Bonded. I fucked that song up for so long. Just that very first, and then until I figured it out. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I sing Lesson in Violence because everything's on the 1 on that song. So fucking, and it was one of my favorite. I think it's one of my favorite songs. So
best songs ever.
Yeah. So I go up there, and do you know Bill, the drum tech? You know Bill Kill. Okay, well he was the drum tech for Exodus for years, and just a friend of the band. He was real good friends with Rick. In like the rave days anyway. So I got the microphone like this, and dude, he's the bottle of water right there. He's sitting in a fucking lawn in a metal chair, just staring at me. And just like, don't fuck it up.
Like, you know for all the listeners, this is like a foot and a half away from Rob Dukes' face.
Right in front of me, dude, like just staring. And he's just like, don't fuck it up. And he's just staring at me. I'm like, oh my God, he made me so uncomfortable. So
maybe that was the point, right? Like, let's make it awkward.
Yeah, so I do the first night. I was terrible. I just terrible. And I said, "Hey, man, you know what? Let me." Are
they auditioning other singers, or is it just you coming?
They
said
they were, but I don't think they were. Dude. I think they're fucking bullshit. Shit. I think they're liars. I think I was the first guy that showed up.
First and only guy. Yeah, first and last.
So I said, "Let me come back tomorrow because this sucks. Let me go home and fucking memorize these lyrics so I'm not staring at Bill. And let me just fucking." So the next night I come back. And I memorized enough that I was like, okay, I can do War Is My Shepherd, I can do Lesson. And I fucking took the microphone out of the stand, and I said,
moved away from Bill.
Moved away from Bill, and I said, now I'm gonna fucking do it. So now I'm fucking staring at Tom, and then they said I fucking killed it.
Awesome.
And Altus was downstairs. Lee Altus was. Remember when Heathen was downstairs at their rehearsal studio? So Heathen was rehearsing also.
Okay.
And they all stopped to listen. Like, oh, who the fuck is this guy? Oh, all right. So I leave. Okay, I'm like, all right, cool, man. Well, it was fun. That was fun. All right. Cool.
No. There's no kind of, hey, you're in or whatever.
No, none of that.
We're gonna keep on auditioning.
Yeah, that's what they said. We're gonna keep. We got a bunch of tapes and stuff. Yeah. We're listening. Oh, okay, cool. So I leave. I go back to LA, and so this is early January. This is right after New Year. So NAMM is like the 23rd of that year. It was like around that time. So Gary calls me and says, hey, man, we're going to NAMM. You should come. We got you a pass. And I was like, all right, cool, man. And I said, yeah. So I lived in L.A., so I was like, I'll just drive down. My friend had a hotel room. I was like, I'll fucking just stay with her. And so I go down. Me and my friend Jen Precious from L7. She was my roommate. Her and so me, her, and my friend Jeff, we go down to NAMM, and we're all hanging out, And Al Jorgensen walks up to me and he goes, dude, I'm tripping on acid, man. Can you just make sure I don't do anything fucking crazy? And I'm like, all right, man. Yeah, just fucking hang here, man. He's got a big glass of wine. And we walk, and Gary texts me and he goes, hey, man, come to the Fender booth. Or no, the PV booth at the time. They were on PV. And he goes, come to the PV booth. So I go, okay. So I go, Al, I got to go to the PV booth. He goes, I'll go with you. I was like, okay. So we walk through, and he lights a cigarette right in the middle of fucking NAMM. And as he lights a cigarette, and it was fucking awesome, Ronnie James Dio comes around the corner, goes, hey, what's up, man? I was
To
like, hey.
who?
To
You?
Al.
Okay.
And I'm standing there, and he says hi to me, and he shakes my hand. I go, hey, man, what's up? And he goes, ooh, can I get a drag of that? And he took a drag.
Nice.
Fucking cigarette.
You want some of my acid?
Yeah, and then we just kept walking, and we were on the way to PV booth. All right, see you. And I was like, oh, that was awesome. Man.
Nice.
I'm like, this is fucking. And I'm like,
You're like, this is a good
it's
omen.
like,
this is a
weird.
good
I'm like,
omen.
this is weird, man. Like, and I'm hanging. Now, I was never really starstruck of people. The only person that ever did that to me was Mike Patton. Mike Patton was the only person that made me fucking really just like, oh man, this dude is one of the greatest singers of all fucking time. You know, and in my head, I'm going, fuck, just be cool, don't be a fucking idiot, and and don't say something stupid, and I was, but this was weird like that. This was like, oh fucking, anyway.
Yeah, plus it's NAMM, so there's thousands of people around.
You're
like you're fucking,
you're
it's like
overwhelmed.
Guitar Center times
Right.
a million.
Yeah, so you're overwhelmed by the people you're meeting and being just talking to her, being totally normal to you, like even if because you're a huge fan, but you're just trying not to show it. So get to the PV booth. Hey, what's up, Gary? What's up, Rick? And Rick is there, and Jack, and they're all there, and Gary says, all right, hold on a second. And they get in this thing, and they're doing a signing, and they're going, hey, everybody, this is our new singer.
Oh, wow. That's a hell of a way to
It
introduce
was
you to the
fucking
world.
awesome, man. Right at the PV booth. They're like, hey, what's up? Yeah, you haven't sang a note yet, dude.
I've never sang for a band before.
Yeah. So, so that's how they did it. And
That's pretty cool. That's
yeah.
a kind of like they put some thought into it. It's
Yeah.
like, that's a pretty...
Yeah.
That's a cool way to
So
do
we
it,
hung
yeah.
out the whole weekend, had a blast. They went back to San Francisco. I moved back to LA. So
and they're writing Shovel-Headed Kill Machine at this
yes.
point? Yeah.
Now, so Rick is still in the band, Tom. Right. So anyway, so we do this. I go up there to do a demo. We get like 3 songs, and Gary had sent me the songs and said, okay, here's the 3 we're gonna do. We need to send these to the label so they get a kind of who you are. So they had Tilo come in and rig up enough to record us. You know what I mean? So I just did it live. We just recorded it live. It wasn't any. So we did Abomination. I forget the other 2 songs. I remember Abomination was the one that was like, oh, this is gonna be fucking fun, man. Like I'm really digging the way that like this is gonna be fucking fun. So we do that. The label says, awesome, new singer, cool. They make a big announcement, and everyone makes a big fucking...
This is Nuclear Blast.
Nuclear Blast, right?
Awesome.
People hate me immediately, which is awesome. It was fucking...
Why do people hate you immediately?
Dude, I got fucking hate mail.
I mean, because it's like, here you are following Bailoff, following Zet, following, like the...
And it was like, and my thing was like, dude, I'm a fan, dude. Like, what do you not want them to play anymore?
I remember you. It's funny you brought that up because now you reminded me of a conversation. I didn't even know you. I think I might have met you one time. We hung out at like a Fear Factory show, and then like there was a big beef between you and Jerry Allen or something. Oh, and you called Jerry me up Allen. Like this motherfucker.
Yeah.
You just I was just like, I just let you vent for a while. I was like, bro, just come on. Like
he's a fucking nothing, nobody. You know what I mean? He was just he just wanted to be my friend so bad, and I just like, I got enough friends, dude. I don't have any time for you.
Yeah.
I
remember watching.
He's not.
I
a good
remember
person.
you came out. The fucking record was heavy. You sounded killer. Like live, you were fucking pissed. Like I immediately liked it. I
thought that's the way Bailoff would have wanted it.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it was like you definitely had so much of that. Like fucking like. It wasn't like we didn't talk about how crazy you were when we met for the first time.
No. Yeah.
But I could see that in you. Like I could tell you had fucking problems. And I liked it. Like I was like, oh, that's what I want to I want to see a motherfucker with problems.
Yeah.
And that was great.
Honestly, it was. I never I remember getting into a big argument with Bo Staff one night. He was like, dude,
So Tom leaves somewhere in here?
Tom leaves, Bo Staff comes in, Rick leaves, Lee comes in, and
a lot of like
it was
upheaval,
crazy, dude.
like a lot of upheaval in the band at this point.
It was crazy. It was, and you know what I mean? And
how kind of disappointing. Like you're joining this band and then like it starts to splinter.
Yeah,
I'm sure not because of you, but like because of whatever previous or.
Well, I mean, it was all they all had their own personal deal they were dealing with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it culminated into this one thing. And Gary was like, I just want to get it done, man. I don't give. I'm getting it done. And I'm using you and you and you, and we're going to get this fucking thing done. And the record was fucking killer. And, he let me write lyrics.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's... Now, you have to understand, Gary Holt says, hey, man, I wrote this song. You can write the lyrics for it. Go ahead. Could you imagine how fucking crazy that made me? Like, how fucking overwhelming that situation was?
It's an honor.
It was fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I already knew that people already fucking hated me. Like, it was like, okay. And they're like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I don't really give a fuck. What I find ironic is 99.99% of the people that talk shit have never fucking met me, have no idea who I am. They just hate to hate.
Yeah.
And I'm not Bailoff, which I didn't clearly want to be. I'd heard enough stories about Bailoff. I was like, what would he want? He would want just somebody to believe in the lyrics, believe in the music, and sing it angry enough that it makes sense. Like we're singing about Satan. We're singing about fucking how the Catholic Church is a fucking raping fucking nightmare.
Yeah, really dark shit. Always has been.
So why would I do that with a smile on my face? The music makes me fucking want to punch somebody in the face. It's so aggressive and it's so fucking angry. And that was what I tried to be. I didn't try to do anything other than that. That's where me and Bostoff kind of had a thing where he was like, well, you should fucking maybe watch some of Phil, or you should watch Tom and hear what they say. And I'm like, dude, I'm being myself, man. Like this, let me the fuck. I remember I was going to punch him in the face. Because he actually apologized. He's like, dude, I'm really sorry. I'm like, yeah, it got out of hand, didn't it? It was fucking, he goes, and I just, he was mad at me for stage diving during Hatebreed's set. We were playing with Hatebreed. And I'd come running across Hatebreed's fucking stage at one point and fucking be in the pit.
That's right. So you guys, that's one of the shows I saw you guys. And Wayne, who later went into Hatebreed, was the guitar tech for Exodus, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would fucking stage.
You guys both went from the money side of the music business to being guitar tech to the no money side, being in a band.
Yeah, but he used to annoy both stuff that I'd be in the pit for other bands, and I had done that. Like, dude, when we were touring with Hypocrisy, man, I was in the pit every fucking night. I was. So
Did Paul feel like you're the singer for Exodus, you shouldn't be in the pit?
Yeah, for whatever reason he had that. That was his thought process. And I'm like, well, whatever, dude. And I only live once, man. So I'm doing this. I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like it was like this. It was like it was a you're
gonna be you.
Yeah.
That's all right. If anything, it probably people on the fucking show must have been like, oh my God, the fucking singer for Exodus. I just moshed with the singer for Exodus.
Yeah, man. I used to get so many just everyone was just happy.
Yeah.
There was never, the only time there was negative shit was from a keyboard warrior. Nobody has ever to my face come up.
Or at the shows.
Or at shows.
Yeah, they're supporting. Yeah, there's, there's the
nobody.
The very vocal minority, and then there's the silent majority that never never says any of that. They just go to the shows and support and fucking have a great time, and they love it, and then and that's it. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Like you don't have to go on, like this social media message board fucking phenomenon of the last 15 years or whatever it is kind of like nobody ever had the opportunity to do that before.
No. And here was the other thing, man. And I kind of get from being a fan, like, okay, I was a huge Rush fan. Right. I knew Neil just died. So it's kind of like in my thought process, but I was such a big Rush fan. Like I stopped buying Rush records probably around Grace Under Pressure. And it wasn't that I didn't love the band still, because I'd still go see them live. I just wasn't invested in the songs anymore, right?
Yeah.
And so the older stuff had
So you never went on Rush's message board and went, "This fucking record sucks. What the fuck are you?"
Why would I do that? You know what I mean, like,
the fuck, Neil.
Who cares? You know, but what I did realize was that the people that are so passionate about that era of music, the songs are so cemented in their lifetime for that space of time.
Yes.
Even if the songs weren't that good.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? That doesn't matter.
It had this. It came in at a time.
It was a girl that he were fucking
they were.
at that time,
Totally.
right? You
Got laid for the first time. I lost my virginity to fucking.
So, and I was the same way, man. Like, I didn't want to fucking hear like new Rush. I wanted to listen to Crust of Steel because that fucking meant something to me. Like at the time, I could, you know. But when I went and saw them live when they played new stuff, I was like, God damn, that sounds really good. I should probably buy that record. You know? I just never. It just wasn't. I didn't have that investment. So. The other thing that I realized was that music is, you can have an opinion about music. You can not, like if someone says to me, "Hey man, I just don't like your voice," I'd be like, okay, that's fine. But if someone says you're a fat fucking loser, like go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
You can suck my dick because fuck off. Yeah. That's not an opinion. That's like you just being a dick for being a dick. If you don't like my vocals, if you don't like the way my voice is, then that's fine, man. Just go listen to the older stuff.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like you don't have to, but if you want to go on Blabbermouth and shit on me, then that's fine, man. Like whatever, dude. I don't care. You're not going to affect my fucking life because I know that if I put my resume of my life experience up against yours, you're going to come up short. Because unless you're Tom Araya writing on the Blabbermouth message board, then fuck off.
Yeah.
Now, when there are certain people that told me certain things, that was enough. Like when Kerry King said, "Dude, you're the best thing that's ever happened to Exodus." When he told me that after we played with them at Hellfest that year, the last time I saw Jeff Hanneman before he got sick, when he said that to me, I stopped.
We were there together.
Yeah. I stopped listening. I don't think I've been on Blabbermouth since. I don't think I've ever listened to another fucking comment by anybody ever again. Unless
that was good enough.
Unless someone said
that was all you needed.
Yeah, I didn't need that.
Yeah.
Fucking Tom Araya. Every night we were on tour, Rob Zombie, he was standing on the side of the stage watching fucking Exodus.
That's rad.
And then he invite me. I have his phone number. He invite me in for, "Hey man, your show was fucking awesome, dude. You want some sushi?" Yeah. Fuck yeah, I do. Fuck yeah. Then he invited me up to sing with him. How many people have invited?
Awesome.
How many people invited to sing with Rob Zombie? Come on, Dukes, I want you to come up and sing the song with me. Learn this part right here, and I'll call you up.
What song?
Sick Bubblegum.
Okay.
Right? So the reason that happened was because he saw me in the fucking pit at his show, like in the front. Just that show was awesome, dude.
Yeah.
When he had the
Did Exodus tour with Zombie?
Yeah. Exodus, Slayer, and Rob Zombie.
Oh shit, that's right. I forgot about that.
Fucking awesome. What a fucking awesome tour.
That's a fucking great bill.
Oh,
that's
fuck
a fucking
dude.
solid ass bill.
Kerry King came out and played fucking Strike of the Beast with us.
Zombies headlining?
It was they switched night after night.
Okay, gotcha.
And but Kerry would come out and do Strike of the Beast with us, man. It's fucking Zombie'd have me come up and sing Sick Bow. Dude, it was so much fuck. I was living a fan's fucking dream. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
These people that I mean, and I wasn't, dude, when I moved to LA, I wasn't even trying to be in a band. I was just fucking going there to fucking surf and scuba dive and fucking bang chicks. That was my plan. I'm just going to go out there and have some fun.
Yeah.
And I ended up in this thing. And, you know, after sitting down with Gary and Tom and doing the documentary and talking to them at length about like through those years and through the struggle years too, after they kind of took a hiatus and
yeah, they took a long break, man, like 10 years,
13 years,
13 years. Yeah.
So they, you know, and talking about, and knowing that, you know, in my personal opinion, I mean, Gary Holt is probably he's in the top 10 greatest guitarists in metal. Like
absolutely.
He is a phenomenal.
There would be no Machine Head without Gary Holt. There wouldn't even be a Robb Flynn without Gary Holt. Like that's how big of an influence he was. The first lead I ever learned was Gary's lead in Bonded by Blood.
And I don't need to. I'm not kissing his ass because you know fuck Gary Holt. You know whatever. You know, but you know he as a guitar player he's mind blowing.
Yeah, how
good he is.
Yeah,
you know, and if he actually did like a Buckethead life where he just played guitar and nothing else, he would be Buckethead too. I mean, he's that phenomenal. He can play any style. He can He's just so goddamn good. And, you know, for him to let me sing and let me write lyrics and let me be myself and let me become who I was going to be as a singer. He didn't force me in any direction. He didn't tell me how to dress. He didn't tell me how to act. He did. So I don't know if you run to this, but, you know, I never said the same thing twice on stage. I went on tour with, I'm not going to name the band, but they said, a lot of the bands where they said the same thing at the same breaks every fucking night. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I was like, I don't want to do that, man.
You want to say something different, mix
it
up.
I would talk about something that happened the night before or that breakfast or whatever was happening in the news or whatever.
I try and do that too.
I tried to just,
don't always succeed, but I try.
Right. And you'd fail miserably, right? Say stuff that you're like.
Sometimes it's like,
oh, I shouldn't have said that.
What did you say?
I used to make Gary Holt
I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm going to just go.
I'd make Gary Holt cringe. I mean, he'd be like, oh, why the fuck did he say that? And, you know, Lee would just laugh. He didn't give a fuck. And Jack would be like, just shake his head. Like, whatever. And Tom would be like.
But sometimes you probably hit gold with it.
Yeah. I'd say the best
was broken clock, is right 2 times a day.
When I was on tour with Slayer, man, I hit it. I said, I thought about what I was going to say.
Yeah.
And I knew.
That helps.
Yeah. Rather than just off
Tourette's.
The cuff.
Tourette's
man.
it.
Oh,
yeah.
Fuck, dude.
No, that's my problem. I Tourette's it a lot. And it's just like, wait, what? What did I just I don't know what the
one time
ignore that. Sorry.
One time we played the show and Gary's rig broke. And it took him 5
Oh, so you gotta keep the crowd going.
I tried to do a 5-minute comedy.
You're doing your stand up. This is the beginning of your stand up.
I did a 5-minute joke and it was just fucking crickets. One person went ha like.
You're like fuck.
Yeah. So I mean, it was to have Gary Holt, this creative juggernaut of a human being, because he's so fucking creative and he kept it going for so long, and for him to choose me out of all the people that he could have chosen, because he could have went out and there were thousands of people who would have left their current gig to come do this. So you know what I mean? They would have, but he chose me. He saw something and he let me just be myself, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And for the 10 years that I did it, that, you know, it was a phenomenal time in my life, man. I've been doing like
3 albums, right? You did 3 albums with them.
I did
4 albums, because you did the re-record of Bonded.
Re-recorded Bonded by Blood, which was actually
Atrocity.
Yeah, A and B, and then Shovel. So the Bonded by Blood thing was, it was supposed to be live. That was what our original intention was. We were going to do a live recording of them. Just play the show live and record it and then put that out. That was kind of and it ended up not happening. So we ended up doing it the way we did it. And Gary wanted to do them faster with better production, and I wanted to do homage to Paul. And I was, for me, man, it was an honor. I would have done it either way. I didn't care. Live would have been fucking fun as shit too. And I know people shit on it, but I think
I was one of those people.
Yeah. I didn't. I understand.
I mean,
I get it.
I didn't go on the internet and bash anybody, but I was like, yeah, you know, like
I wish it was live.
Bonded was just so for me,
perfect.
And you know, I think for a young fan, it was probably a great introduction. You know, like it was a great for me. That shit's part of my fucking DNA at this point. Like I said, I know every fucking.
Well, fuck you.
I know every wrong note. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I know every they're not playing the guitars tight at the beginning of it. You know,
and
then there were none. And then I heard it and I was like, ew, it's all tight now. What the fuck? I'm like, the drums are all killer. Like, you ever
seen Suicidal live?
Yeah, I hated the Suicidal re-record too. I hated that. I just,
you see live, they're perfect now. It's like, I kind of remember. Yeah. You know, but let me tell you this: if Gary called you and said, "Hey, man, we're gonna do Bono, will you do it?"
I would say, don't do it. I mean, there must have been some other. I've heard that there was another kind of reasoning behind it. You know, that there was like some other legal things or something that like kind of worked out or something. No,
I remember what
I know. A lot of times in the past, when a band did a re-record, it's to somehow get like some rights back or something like that.
No, it was basically. I remember we played the Key Club, right? And we played San Francisco, and we did Bonded in its entirety,
right?
And we wanted to record it and release it, and for whatever reason, most likely financially reason, it didn't happen.
Okay.
So at the end of that thing, Gary said, well, let's just fucking record it. I did them in New York. I didn't even go.
I mean, I think if it's for a good time, that's fucking rad.
That's,
you know, if
that's
it's
kind
just
of what
like,
it was. It was more of.
It was Tom on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom's on it. Yeah.
You know, and
Jack
Lee.
Yeah. Okay.
And, you know, and Lee didn't do Rixel. He did his own. He didn't.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, look, man. We've been doing.
I remember.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
It's like, what's this?
You know what, man?
It's cool.
I have to defend it because it was like, like fuck you. I got to do it.
Yeah.
I got to sing.
It's a huge thing.
Those are some of my favorite songs. No, if someone said, dude, sing fucking, let's do No Love. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that song so much.
Dude, it's one of the best.
Yeah. There's not a bad song on that record.
No.
And
Metal Command. I could do without Metal Command.
Yeah, that's true. It's the weakest song on the record. It's not a bad song.
It's not a bad song.
It's the weakest. It's the metal
Every
militia
other
of
every other
Kill 'Em
song
All.
is so fucking.
It's the metal militia of
you know?
fucking Kill 'Em All.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So it's that metal militia song, right?
It's the I like Metal
Metal
Militia.
Militia.
I like the way he says metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a hell of a story, though, man.
Well, fucking yeah,
That's
man.
fucking amazing.
Just to be able to do.
You had a fucking pretty incredible. I mean, so many experience, so much fucking like what a life you've had, dude. Like Jesus,
Absolutely.
it's fucking pretty amazing. You're still sober, like coming up on 20 something years.
27.
27 years sober.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like that's fucking incredible.
Yeah. I'm ready to start drinking.
Come full circle. Like it's 60 It's 60 years old.
I
Start drinking.
I told myself 70. I was gonna have I was gonna drink some whiskey.
Yeah.
And a brandy and fucking a cigar and fucking that's I'm gonna be the old man on the porch. Get the fuck off my lawn. You know that guy.
That could be good.
Yeah.
Dude, it's been awesome having you on here.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing your stories.
Thank you.
Fucking.
We've been friends for a long time, man. Now, and it's every time I see you, it's always fucking awesome to hang out.
Yeah, it was heavy. It was heavy, man. It was. Thanks for opening up like you did.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Metal.
With Robb Flynn.